So I am wanting to start off by apologizing. I had promised you a perm rods and bendable rollers tutorial on my longer hair before I got my hair cut. And I did do that video, but I ran into a lot of technical difficulties in editing, so I wasn't able to use the footage. I apologize for that, but you can see the finished product of the bendable rods and pulp perm rods setting on my longer hair on Instagram. But this is the new haircut. I wanted to do a quick video showing you what it looks like dry, and then I will do a quick roller setting with hot sticks and show you why it's not meant to be worn straight. If you go to a hairstylist who is used to doing modern haircuts, they're going to look at this and think that it is crazy. Because as you know, this is called a horseshoe cut, and if you follow Nicia from Nicia's Hairstyling on Instagram, or if you follow pretty much any vintage girl on Instagram, you will notice that most of them have this haircut. Now, there is also a very traditional midi haircut that you can use for vintage styling, and we have discussed that in prior videos, but I decided to go with a more straightforward horseshoe this time, and I wanted to show you what it looks like straight. My friend Amina at Cowan & Company in Bowling Green is the one who cut this. She's very precise, she's very specific in what she will accept from her own skills, so therefore I trusted her completely, even though she had never really done this haircut, and she did a really great job. I'm going to show it to you all the way around. So as you can see, there is a very dramatic horseshoe that goes all the way around, hits the longest point right here, which is also part of what the midi does. But the thing about a horseshoe that makes it a little bit different is it doesn't have the layering throughout. When my hair in humidity, my very fine hair, and I discussed this also in my making the cut video that I did, my hair actually has a very specific tendency to feather in humidity, and so even if I do a wet set, sometimes if I have too many layers, my hair will feather, start to look very 70s and very Farrah Fawcett. So I decided to go with a more traditional hair horseshoe because it keeps most of the weight at the bottom. Now when it's straight, you're going to notice that you have a short layer here and a very specific non-gradual step down, especially if it flips over your shoulders. This is why it's not meant to be worn straight, because it can look very awkward straight. But the whole point is to wear this as a curled style. So if you're willing to make that commitment to vintage styling, then it's a no-brainer. It's a great one to go with. But you can see it's a very, very traditional horseshoe shape. It's very exaggerated, and yeah, she did an amazing job. It's very precise. There's very little layering in it. It's just a little bit of layering right around the bottom. So this is probably the haircut that I will stick with, at least for the time being. I like having bangs, and it's a little bit shorter than what I typically like to have for when I have bangs, but I wanted to go ahead and go this short so I wouldn't have to get it cut right away. I know it's going to grow out pretty, it's going to have a pretty flattering grow out stage, so I'm not all that worried about that part of it, but this is what it looks like dry. So what I'm going to do now is just set it in hot sticks. These will not hold today. It is very humid outside. There's no way this set will hold, but just for the purpose of this video, so you can see the difference in what it looks like when it is styled, then I will do it this way. Now, traditionally, what I would do for everyday wear is just use rockin' rollers at night, just sleep in them, and then just have it curled throughout the day, every day. It would be a super easy way to do it. You literally take 2 minutes to brush it out in the morning and you're done. If I want to do something a little fancier, I might blend my bangs in with the rest of the style and do something a little bit more specific, like to Jean Tierney or something like that. Or I could possibly keep my bangs and then do a part on the side and have more of a waterfall effect on one side. And we'll do that in a future style. But this is just how it looks dry. Very silky and straight, but it's got a really nice specific shape to it. The layers in the front are exactly the same. She did a great job with the continuity of it, and the word is continuity. Okay, sorry about that. Scratch. Edit. Okay, so my friend Amina at Cowan & Company in Bowling Green is the one who did this. If you are in the Nashville, Bowling Green, anywhere around that area, I strongly recommend her. I think she's great. She's also beautiful. See? She's beautiful. But yeah, she's very talented and very precise. And I do feel like precision is important for this type of haircut. And especially if it's somebody who is not used to doing this style for the purpose of vintage, or this haircut for the purpose of vintage styling, you're going to notice that precision is still going to give them all of the necessary skills required to get this to where it looks the way it should. So, hot sticks. You've seen these a million times in my videos, but you have probably also seen them a million times at your local drugstore. They are $15, $16, $17-ish. These are the Conair hot sticks. There's different versions of this, and they're not called hot sticks. I think hot sticks is the Conair version. But they usually come with small and large ones. My complaints with these is that they do pop open sometimes while they're setting, which is really irritating. But the big ones don't pop open as much as the small ones do. All right, so what I'm gonna do, and this is literally going to be the simplest thing ever. This is just to give you an idea of how this looks styled. What I'm gonna do, these are real nice and hot. They've been heating up for a while. And that's one of the best things about hot sticks is how hot they get. If you live in a lower humidity area, they will usually hold better than any other heated set, other than maybe a hard set of you know, curling iron set. So this is Tresemme Heat Tamer Spray. I've been using this since the very beginning of my channel. Still love it because it's water-based, it's not alcohol-based. But what I'm gonna do, it's almost like a spray conditioner. I like to spray each individual section because it gives me some control. One of the best things about this haircut is that it does not have so many layers that you cannot control the ends of the hair. Sometimes that can be very difficult with a whole lot of layers. And again, there's a multitude of videos on my channel that you can see that are gonna kind of showcase that. So I'm just kind of spraying each individual section. A lot of people will say you don't need to do this. I find it works much better because it works more almost like a styling aid instead of just a heat protectant. Having that little bit of moisture on the hair whenever you're rolling it just makes it behave a little better. I don't have any lashes on today. I feel like I don't have any lashes in this video. Sorry. But because of the manner of this haircut, it's just super easy to grab the ends. It doesn't take any extra effort. These will need to set at least 30 minutes. They need to get completely cold before you take them out, especially on a day like today in my high humidity area. Again, I'm guessing here based on looking in the viewfinder. This is not easy. Okay, so these small ones do have a tendency to pop open really easily. Ooh, this one is burning my head. Okay. This is what I get for not having a desk. So what I'll do sometimes is take these little duckbill clips that I use for pin curls and just clip it right there at the joint. It just makes it a little less likely that it will slide out. All right, in about half an hour, I'm gonna come back. I'm getting ready for work, so I might be wearing a different top. But in about a half hour, I'm gonna come back and I'm going to show you what this looks like when there is some bend to it. My bang length right now is a little bit heavy. I'm not 100% with this bang length. I need to cut it either a little bit shorter or let it grow just a little bit longer and do side swept. But anyway, I like bangs, so I try to keep them. I'll see you soon. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take these babies out, usually in the order that I put them in, but honestly they're cold now, so it doesn't really matter. As long as they're set, and you can see these took really well. That Heat Tamer Spray by Tresemme really helps as a styling agent as well as a heat protectant, so I strongly recommend it. I always have. I tried a few higher end brands of heat protectants, and a lot of them were alcohol based, and yes, they hold pretty well, but I feel like the style wasn't as soft as what I typically like in my retro styling. I don't generally like a more structured style unless that's specifically what I'm going for. I kind of like it to be a little softer, so it wasn't my favorite choice, but it's up to y'all. And the brush I'm going to use is my Denman paddle brush. All right. Bangs are decent, so I'm not going to mess with them. Hair is not really parted. So the first thing I'm going to do is I just kind of grab right above where the curls are and just break them up with the brush. You don't have to be super gentle with this. But you can see that sort of like waterfall effect. And that is, of course, the natural tendency because the hair is cut in a horseshoe shape. It just gives you that more retro-like vibe. And I'm going to do it on this side as well. And this is the standard, like, just the style that I'll do typically for every day whenever I wear my hair down and I don't really feel like messing with it much. That's the same one I did in my out the door in 20 minutes or less revisit that I recently did. It's the same type of style, but I like to keep a little bit of fluff. I don't want it to be completely structured. So there's not much to it. I'm going to grab my hairspray and sort of shape it a little bit. I like to kind of direct it behind my ears if I'm just going to wear it down. Anyway, you can see from here, just fluffing the curls, and I would probably tend to finesse this a little bit more because it's a little bit more, I would finesse this a little bit more if it was a wet set because it would hold up to it. But the more that I mess with this, the more it's going to fall. So I just kind of wanted to show you the way it falls whenever it's got curl to it as opposed to when it's straight. Whoops. Anyway, the way that it falls as opposed to when it's straight, it definitely has a bit more of a waterfall appearance, and that's what's going to give you that very traditional and authentic 1940s, 1950s shape to your style. So you don't have to do a standard midi. You can actually do a horseshoe cut with just a little bit of layering along the bottom, and you'll get the same sort of effect without having to worry too much about the flyaways and the difficulty in pin curling and things like that. So it's just an option for you. If a midi is working better for you, then stick with the midi. Another thing you can do is actually take these curls and do a little bit more molding and shaping to give them a little bit more of a 1940s appearance. It's just going to give it a little bit more structure. And the more conducive your hair is to holding a wave, the more waving you can put into this. A perfect example of how a horseshoe cut can be styled to look with the waves just really, really structured and beautiful throughout is Nesia, from Nesia's hairstyling on, she might go by Nisha, I'm not sure what her actual pronunciation is, but on Instagram, she's probably my most the most inspiring to me because she does use wet sets typically, and it's just phenomenal to me what her hair will do. And there you have it. And that's how the horseshoe cut is supposed to fall. I'm crazy about it. I like to take it the sides and put them back a little bit, give it a little bit of volume on the sides. Sometimes I'll take it and do a victory roll. But because I generally wear my bangs down, especially if they're cut to a length that I'm okay with, I will not really do much with that. But yeah. Crazy about the haircut. She did a great job. If you live in this area, by all means, go see her. And in the meantime, I am going to get as many videos. I'm going to get on editing as often as I can. Hopefully I won't run into any more technical difficulties. And I will have a fashion show video for last year's Western Roundup fashion show at the Nashville Boogie coming up to you soon. It took me almost a full year to get the photos in place. So I am so sorry about the delay on that, but hopefully it will be all the added impetus that you'll need in order to get your tickets and get to the Nashville Boogie. And that will be coming up next week. I'll also be filming a few videos next week for you. So hopefully everything will work out the way that I want it to. If not, I'm not sweating it anymore. I do what I can do when I can do it, but I love to see you guys around, and I hope that you are enjoying the videos that I have up already. Please feel free to revisit those. And let me know if you have any requests or concerns. We'll talk to you later. Bye.